Hey, welcome back to my Proven Sales Letter Breakdown Challenge. This is the second video of the End of America promotion breakdown. If you haven't watched video number 1 before, then I definitely recommend you check it out right now. I'm going to leave a link below this video in the description section, along with the entire Proven Sales Letter Breakdown playlist as well, because this is day number 68, I think. It's hard to actually keep track of these things because I'm doing these videos daily. So if you definitely don't want to miss out on future videos, maybe want to also check out past videos, then I recommend you subscribe to the channel right now, and you also click the little notification icon, because that way you're for sure not miss out. And also, if you're enjoying these videos, then make sure to share these with others as well, because for the right people, for people interested in direct response copywriting, these things are gold, and now you can watch it for free as well. But getting back to the topic at hand today, in my last video, I broke down most of the End of America promotion written by superstar copywriter Mike Palmer, and this was the best performing promotion, especially at that time, of all time. So think about it. It brought in more than 1 million paying customers, and it was done just with this sales letter, okay? And then obviously traffic was run to it and stuff like that, but that is the power of a nice sales letter. And that is why I'm focusing so much on discovering the true secrets of these sales letters from the best copywriters of all time. Because if you can identify that, if you can reverse engineer what makes them work, you can also use the same concepts in your own marketing, and it will definitely position you way above your competition. Because let's be honest, like, most marketers don't even know about these things. Most of the marketing in the world outside is brand marketing, and it's definitely not this type of direct response marketing. But for those of us who are interested in discovering the secrets of how people actually make decisions, how they can be influenced, then this is definitely a treat for us. But to give you a very, very quick rundown of what happened in video number 1, basically this is what we call a prediction lead. So the entire headline and the first few parts of the copy itself is angled at predicting something big. And this thing, in the beginning, it's not given away so that people actually read more, but this thing is the collapse of the dollar itself as the world's reserve currency, and obviously as a result losing a lot of its value. So at this point you might feel like, that could never happen, Csaba. Like, how could the dollar collapse? Well, maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. But that's why this sales letter is so long, because it's 39 pages and it's mostly made up of proof. Like, the offer itself, so the pitch and the offer itself is only like the last two pages. Not even that, the last 1.5 pages. That's it. So think about it. That's how much proof, how much showing, how many parallels and analogies you have to make if you want people to believe such an outrageous prediction. But at the same time, it's work hard, play hard, right? Because this type of thing is the type of big idea that moves people, that moves entire markets. And that's why this has been featured in many media outlets as well. It was written in 2010 or 2011. Not really don't know exactly, but around that time. And you know, you need these big ideas to move people, to create a movement or something like that. And that's why this promotion was so powerful. Yes, the copywriting itself, the word choices and the paragraphs, they're all A++ quality. But the one thing, the most important thing that made this work was the big idea, and how the big idea related to market conditions, to current market conditions with a specific target audience. Because some copywriters have said that, you know, this type of big idea has been done before several times, so that the dollar will collapse. We're still waiting on it, by the way, even to this day in 2021, since we starting to see signs of inflation, and you know, the government is printing so much money, and everybody is in a greed mindset. a lot of people are afraid that what's going to happen later on. So today this would not work, but after a crash, something like this could work again. But you really have to nail the big idea, the target audience, and how it fits with the big idea and the current market conditions. So that's why it worked. So basically, a quick rundown. You have the headline, the lead. The lead does two things. First, it builds desire and curiosity in people, and it also gets them to read further and further so that they get emotionally invested. Like, as you can see on this video, there's a bunch of yellow stuff. Every single yellow stuff that you see here has a comment associated with it. So once again, go check out video number 1 if you want to like understand this from a deeper point of view, because I just don't have time to like cover it once again. But after the lead, we start building a problem. Mike Palmer does a great job at painting a picture and explaining why actually something like this could happen. He starts talking about how the US government is over leveraged, how there's a bunch of bad loans out there, there's a bunch of proof elements, how we are way over of our heads, it's gonna be worse than the financial crisis. He brings in oil and a few other commodities as well as an example of how it would look like if the dollar suddenly lost most of its value and then everything became much more expensive, everything that you have to import at least. And he takes a jab at socialists and Obama, because we know from experience that this specific target audience for financial promotions, they hate socialists and they hate Democrats and they hate Obama. Okay, so whenever you can use that, you definitely do it. It's not a personal opinion. It's just like this is what the target audience, this specific target audience, wants to hear. And you cannot really do anything with that. If that's what they want to hear, that's what you want to give them. So then Mike Palmer agitates the problem. He brings in all sorts of various historic examples. And this is really, really valuable stuff. So it's dimensionalized. It really makes you feel like you can imagine what's happening here and what can happen and what happened to, like, I don't know, Argentina or like Germany during an inflationary period. And later on we have a story of Yugoslavia, like this one, I think. So in just 3 years or 2 years, prices increased by 5 quadrillion %. And, he also contextualizes it like what this would mean if like you had to buy a bread in an economy that has so much inflation. We have even more dimensionalization, because this is what make people actually understand big ideas. If you just say, hey, make more money, or you're gonna lose $100,000, it doesn't mean much in itself. But you have to say how their day-to-day life will be changed. How and you gotta be raw about it. You gotta be vivid about it. You gotta make it very descriptive, because that's when it becomes believable. That's when people can start really associating themselves with this. And then we have even more proof elements, how, stuff like this happened in other countries as well, and what happens in these things, how the government implements capital controls, which means that, they're going to restrict money flow, they're going to take your gold, they're going to restrict how much money you can get out of banks, and then this means that America must be worried, right? Well, a lot of people are, and we have a lot of proof elements of certain voices in media and in certain gurus that are afraid that, yes, the dollar might collapse, and then China, he's also against us, and the dollar is no longer good here. Like Mike Palmer managed to find a few news pieces. Obviously, these are biased a little bit, but you can find, supporting evidence for anything nowadays. But it's a little bit biased, especially nowadays, because this hasn't turned out to be true. This specific thing, a lot of other things may have turned out to be true from this promotion, but he makes the argument that some places will even stop accepting dollars, and it's even happening in the USA as well. We have even more proof that, because these are big claims, most people, especially who are patriots, and they're more conservative, I mean, they believe in the United States of America, they believe in the American dream and all these things, but they still feel like, the Democrats are messing everything up and are going to ruin this country, and they have this fear that something bad is going to happen, but at the same time they also, like, they are proud to be an American. So it's a very hard sell for them to really convey the idea of, everything is going to go in the gutter. So that's why you need a lot of proof and a lot of quotes from voices like Jim Rogers, who's very popular with this particular audience. He's like a financial guru. Even more proof, what's going to happen with gold and silver. And as we go through this, I'm sure that you see that this is just like a dissertation. So this is valuable in itself. It's like a research paper almost, but understandable for the everyman. And I think this is the part where I left off in my last video. So we still have even more objection handling elements and reason why elements. So objection handling elements are important because as people are reading this, they're going to have more and more objections. Like they're trying to rationalize why this couldn't happen, and a good copywriter always tries to preemptively answer these, preemptively counter these, so that he never gets in a situation where people are going to feel like, yeah, this sounds like a scam, this sounds like bullshit, I know this is not gonna happen. So if that happens in too many cases, you're going to lose the person, okay? So that's why you need preemptive objection handling. And then a reason why, it's just a rational argument. It's just like as if you were a lawyer and you're making a case against or for something, okay? So that's why we have some amazingly relevant parallels to the past as well. So here we have a very sophisticated type of belief shifting, and belief shifting is very important for copywriting and for persuasion, because the biggest obstacle that people have in terms of buying something is themselves. Okay, so either they don't believe in you or your product or themselves. And in many cases, a lot of copywriters totally ignore this, but you really have to also make them reframe a lot of their pre-existing beliefs, because many of them probably feel like this could never happen in the US. We're in the US. But then Mike Palmer brings in a great example of the Jews during World War II in Germany, and how that started, and how, by the end of 1935, 100,000 Jews left Germany, but 500,000 almost still remained, and they were wealthy Jewish families. And this just brings up a common cognitive dissonance that many people have, is that, we've been living in normalcy for so long, it's very hard to imagine something extreme happening, something like they're gonna round up the Jews and they're going to put them into concentration camps. And especially as it's happening gradually, people start rationalizing that, it's only gonna happen until some point. Like this Hitler guy, he's not gonna be a real dictator. Like, we have laws, we live in a modern society, and somebody's gonna stop him, right? And yes, he's doing very questionable things and very bad things, but he won't be that bad, right? Well, not really. And the same was true with Stalin, and the same is true today as well. Like, who knows what might happen, and it still happens in many countries around the world, in which a potential dictatorship starts out one way, and it escalates until it's like there's no turning back anymore. So these are amazing and very, very relevant parallels. We also have Hurricane Katrina, like how, this was written shortly a few years after Hurricane Katrina, and I think it was still fresh on people's minds, and a lot of people were counting on the government to save them. But it just shows that whenever there's a big emergency, you're left on your own, and a lot of people in the target audience already feel like they're alone, because now the government is socialist or like Democrat, and they're on their own. So these little parts just pre-validate more of their pre-existing beliefs. And then we have even more reason why and proof elements and why this is the case, why you can't trust the government itself. Because the idea that Mike Plummer is trying to build here is that you cannot really let others save you and help you build a portfolio that is gonna help you retire, something like that. No, instead you have to do it yourself. You have to take your own destiny into your own hands. So this is also empowering to some sense, but in order for this to be credible for people, he has to bring in a lot of examples, like how even at that point, like when the sales letter was written, 13% of the population is on food stamps. There's tons of shanty towns, and 43% of American families are essentially broke. Here's a proof element, like the American consumer is broke. How the total U.S. consumer debt in billions. Like nowadays, it would be even way higher. And then jobs are disappearing. And basically, he just paints a negative picture. He notice how this entire sales letter, we're at 2/3 of it, but we still have no mention of the product at all, and we still have a long way to go until the product itself is mentioned, because that's how you sell an idea. That's how you sell a product, actually, with a good idea. But first, you have to sell the idea itself. And sometimes when the idea is big, like a prediction that the dollar is gonna lose its value and its status as the world reserve currency, well, in those cases, you need a giant argument with tons of proof, because that's the only way it works. But when it works, it's massive. So we agitate more. There's a parallel here from the Great Depression. Obviously, many financial promotions use the Great Depression as an example, because it was just such a terrifying example. Then also we have things related to how there's the corporate tax is so high in America, and there's so much debt, and some other mini stories as well. So we agitate it even more and more and more. How there's going to be even more homeless, and how the stock market at this point is all over 1937 as well. So this is another aspect of the dire prediction. It says, we are basically in the same situation that happened between 1937 and 1942. So yeah, this is also a great parallel. We have some proof elements, and I like these little questions. Will we see a repeat of the 1930s and 1940s? So this looks like the guru himself, Porter Stansberry, who's the guru behind this sales letter, as if he marked this map up, or this chart up, right? This almost seems like handwriting, and everything with this is done so that he seems more credible, but more likable at the same time, more approachable. So he really starts seeming like your very intelligent uncle who knows what's up and what's gonna happen. Okay, so we have some proof elements. You see the Wall Street Journal reported something, even more proof with hey, how gold and silver prices have soared over the last 10 years. Because, a lot at this point, many people already start wondering what could be a potential solution to all this problem, that all my assets are going to lose their value because the dollar is going to lose their value. Well, one of the potential solutions could be to invest in gold and silver. But okay, it's not so easy. So sure, you have great potential with gold and silver, but it's not so easy. So that's why we're gonna transition into so-called premiums or bonuses, which is a very common characteristic of these financial promos. And what this means, that after the emotional part, and after the story and big idea and unique mechanism of the problem, we introduce the unique mechanism of the solution itself. So what's special in the solution that the voice behind this sales letter is proposing, and we're hyping up the value of several free reports or special reports that the reader is going to get for free when they subscribe to the monthly newsletter. Okay, so it's always the same type of offer, and this is a soft offer, which means that you don't have to pay for it up front. You can use the entire, you receive everything, you know, you also receive the monthly newsletter, and then after 4 months, you start paying. But until 4 months, you don't start paying. And even if you don't want to pay after the 4 months, you can still keep all your bonuses. So it really is an irresistible type of offer that brings in a lot of customers. And some of these customers aren't necessarily the highest quality because they're freebie seekers, but a lot of them are. And you'd be surprised how many people actually are going to keep subscribe to something once they subscribe to it, especially if it's a low price. So this is like $50 a year. And this offer structure actually has been iterated on and optimized even more nowadays. So current Agora style promotions still use very similar structures, but at the end they have a stronger type of close. So the one thing I would probably improve in this letter is towards the close. We'll get to it later, but it just came to my mind right now. But I would maybe like include more elements, more urgency, or more scarcity, or more price rationalization, price drops. Maybe try to get them to subscribe to like a 2-year term instead of a 1-year term. So something like that to increase the average order value more, because then the entire promotion is even more valuable. So that's the one thing I would improve in this. But even in this current stage, it's very, very good. So who am I to say this? But yeah, Gary Bencivenga always says that you should try to find one thing to improve in a proven sales letter, and you know, this is my one thing for this one. So you know, after we get introduced to the unique mechanism of the solution, so like how you can protect yourself and make actual money, it's a natural thing to do, and you have to do it, because think about it, for like 30 pages, we just painted the problem and agitated people, and we scared a lot of people. Like, I'm sure that the customer service department of Stansberry Research, who is the publisher of this sales letter, was really overworked the few days after, or a few weeks after, you know, mailing this out or sending traffic to this, because a lot of people definitely got super spooked by this. And I can get it. It makes sense. I mean, it's scary. And many people haven't really considered these things before. But that's why it's important to also not leave people hanging, but give them something, give them a potential solution. And the solution comes by way of 5 premiums, or like special reports that people are gonna get for free. So first, we just validate some of their other pre-existing beliefs, like how the government is not gonna save you. This is very important, because some people feel like, why do I need this? The government is just gonna bail me out, like how they bailed out the big banks. Well, no, they might bail out billionaires and big corporations, but not you, the average person. You are basically nobody to them. So we have stuff like, remember, you won't be able to count on the government during the crisis. Think about it. If the government couldn't even save city of New Orleans, the city of New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina, how in the world will it save an entire country when all hell breaks loose? So it makes sense. It scares people, but it also gives them a reason why they should act now. And we also have this little element here that gives them even more reason why they should act now. It says, all of the moves I recommend are simple and fairly straightforward to implement, at least right now. If you wait to do these things, however, they will almost certainly get very expensive, difficult, and even impossible to do. If you do these things now, not only will you be better prepared to weather the coming storm, I believe you could also make quite a bit of money over the next few years. So think about how to get people to act right now and not later. Well, by using a paragraph like this. I love it. And then finally, you know, we get introduced to the specific steps that people should make. And, you know, these are basically disguised as tips. So like, hey, step 1, you should get your money out of the reach of the US government. It makes sense, right? So we have a little description section here. Then we have step 2, which is like how to acquire the world's safest assets, which are likely to perform best during this period. So as people are expecting something bad to happen, it's very, very valuable for them to get introduced to something that can really help them weather the storm. Then the third one is like learn the stock market quitter's secret, like how you can make money even when the stock market goes down. The fourth one is make sure you own the one asset that can help save you and your family no matter how bad things get. Again, this is like the ultimate, like, I don't know, pink slip to, or like get out of jail free card, and it's hyped up with proof and everything. But like, this is the higher level structure of it. But if you look at it closer, you discover that basically, as this tip, this is just a subhead for a few value build-up paragraphs, which basically just paint a little bit of desire why you should get this, okay? So we have something like, you know, I'm gonna give you the 4 simple investments you can make right now, which you do not have to report to the US government. So obviously people want this, so it's a benefit described. And notice how there's no features here. It's not like, hey, this includes 50 pages and it's printed in a font size of 12, and it's like, it's so nice, it's laminated, and obviously this is like a bit too much, but like, people don't care about features as long as, you know, you paint a dream of how their life is going to change regarding your product, because they're not buying the product, they're buying the promise itself. They're buying the better improved version of themselves and their lives. But you also gotta back it up with proof from time to time, even these promises. And it's also a good idea to have some objection handling elements here and there. So you can say something like, don't get me wrong, you know, you're still gonna be required to pay your taxes on your gains, but the great thing about this is that as long as you follow this guide, you'll be safe. Because like, what's happening here, a lot of people after reading this, they're gonna start thinking like, oh, but is this legal? Like, I definitely don't want to get into trouble with the IRS. Well, we preemptively answered that objection. So there you go. Once again, good copywriters do this. And then finally, at the end of this section, we get introduced to free bonus number 1, which is like, and this is going to have the same structure for all bonuses. So it says, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm doing here in this letter, because I want to tease you, but I will explain everything in a full detail in my new report called The 4 Investment Assets You Do Not Have to Report to the US Government. And I will gladly send it to you free of charge. So there you go. This is how we introduce these premiums. And then we get introduced to the second one, right? Like the world's safest assets during crisis. And we have like, how should you do it? We have a little bit of description of why it makes sense to get this, and then we get introduced to it again. So there are many options, and my research firm has recently published a great book called The Gold Investor's Bible, which details in full all the best ways to own and hold gold bullion. So in this volume, we reveal this and that. So these are like mini fascinations, and we also have a price drop, like a value build up that says, not regularly available for sale. This book is valued at $24. I'd like to send you a copy totally free of charge. So yeah, how can people not want it, right? We're just building up the value more and more. And then we have some really valuable content here as well, with some tips that make sense. Like, I didn't know that for a long time the price ratio between silver and gold was 16:1. So that was the normal for a long time. But now, I mean, as of writing this sales letter, so in 2011, let's say the ratio is 50:1. And I checked it today in 2021, it's like 75:1 or something. So what this means is that if the currency devalues a lot, then some institutions might start using silver again as a store of value, because it's more stable than these so-called fiat currencies, which are like the dollar, the euro. So money that has no intrinsic value, it's basically debt, okay? And it's not tied to the gold or silver systems anymore. But if something collapses, then the value of gold and silver is going to skyrocket because it's been like the de facto currency for thousands of years. We just live in a time during which they're not that popular anymore. So, you know, this part, it's really valuable, and it shows once again that you want to make the sales letter itself super valuable. And you also have some paint the dream elements, like, you know, if that happens, you could make gains of around 600% if you invest at today's prices. So once again, if you don't want to miss out, if you don't want to get left out, then you should do it right now. And here it's like a bonus of a bonus, because if you request for this free report, you're also gonna get another free report, which is called like the secrets of the silver market. So as always, people are going to get this for free when they actually request for this entire package for free for 3 months, by the way, for 4 months actually, but we're going to get info about that a little bit later. So then step 3, learn the stock market quitter's secret. So like, how can people escape the stock market when it's going to go down? And I love how we have a preemptive objection handling element here that says, you know, and it's not shorting. Because what a lot of people associate, you know, quitting the stock market when it's about to go down with is shorting. But shorting is a very risky strategy, and you really have to know what you're doing before you even start considering shorting, because the downside with this is uncapped. So you can lose many times your money. And you can get into huge debts with it, but the upside is unfortunately limited. So this answers people's fears that, oh, it's just shorting. No, it's not shorting, it's something else. But here are the benefits if you start using this, sprinkled in with a little bit of honesty that builds even more rapport with the guru who's publishing this. What's his name? Porter Stansberry. So, and then we have some proof as well on how, you know, you can make a killing with this as well. And then boom, free bonus number 4 introduced. And then the final tip, which is step number 5. I love this one. It's just so good, and I'm gonna read it to you because it's like a lead. It's like a lead at the end of the sales letter. Okay, it teases so much, and it builds up a lot of desire, but it creates a lot of curiosity at the same time, and that's what you want. So check this out. Step number 4, make sure you own the one asset that can help save you and your family no matter how bad things get. There's no telling exactly how bad things are going to get in this crisis as this crisis unfolds. I firmly believe there could be riots, marches in the streets, bank runs, massive arrests, and periods of uncontrollable mayhem, at least for several months as things begin to unravel. But the good news is that there is this one asset you can own, now widely available in America, which should help protect you and your family from this chaos, and could also likely make you a fortune in the years to come. So notice how it's starting to build up the desire for this. Then we continue. I'm not talking about guns or bonds or gold or other precious metals or anything like that. And of course, this has absolutely nothing to do with the stock market. So preemptive objection handling, and at this point many people might believe that it's real estate, but later on we get a clue that it's actually not real estate. So like, what can it be? I have no idea what can it be, and actually something like this left at the end of the sales letter can be so powerful that this might be the one thing that actually knocks people off the fence and says, you know, screw it, I'm gonna request this because I want to find out this one thing. It's very effective. So then we continue. What I'm talking about is a very powerful asset that wealthy families have used for centuries to protect themselves and preserve and build their fortunes. And index tracking this asset has absolutely crushed the stock market between 1991 and 2009 by returning about 430% more than stocks during the period. Wow, even more desire. Best of all, it provided these gains with almost no volatility. Just look at the chart below. See how that blue line goes straight up without any hiccups? And you know, that's the asset that we don't know yet, but it's masterfully teased with a lot of desire building as well. Like, check it out, how much better it is than the S&P 500, right? And then we continue. Multi-millionaire investor Barton Briggs wrote that this type of asset taught history protected both your wealth and your life. During World War II, for example, when millions of families lost their entire life savings through inflation or government seizure, this was the one asset that enabled some families to protect, preserve, and grow their money. What the average American doesn't realize is that many of the richest people in the United States have a significant ownership stake in this asset. The Walton family, Bill Gates, Ted Turner, the Hilton family, Charles Schwab, Microsoft billionaire Paul Allen, the Hunt family, the Hearst family, the Ford family, and more. So these are all proof elements here. As I mentioned, you can easily make this investment today here in America. Probably less than 1% of the population owns it today, but it's readily available and fairly inexpensive. So what more do you want at this point, right? And this probably confirms that it's not real estate, or it might be some specific type of real estate. I don't know what it is, to be honest, but I'm super curious to find out. And then we get this amazing paragraph, and I'm just going to read this to you as well, because it's a masterclass of amazing copywriting, and how Mike Palmer transitions to introducing the bonus number 5 after, teasing up this asset. Like, what could it be? So he goes on. I've written up all of the details on everything you need to know. My full report is called The World's Most Valuable Asset in a Time of Crises. There are several ways to make this investment. I'll show you what they are. Like I said, this has nothing to do with stocks, bonds, precious metals, guns, medicine, or anything like that. Yet, it could save your family and make you very wealthy in the coming years. As my multimillionaire friend Doug Casey said, it's the one thing you should own in the years to come. I don't want to say any more about it. I don't want to say any more about it than that here in this letter. The truth is, the fewer people know about this investment secret, the better. So boom, you have the perfect transition into how and why you should request this. Because if you want to find out what this one asset is that's super special, and it's the best asset during crises, and it's not this, not that, then I've put together a free report for you as well. And it's not only will protect you and your family, it will also make you rich. And I just don't want to spill the beans right now, because that way everyone's gonna know. Okay, so I like this. It's masterful. Like, hey, I'm not gonna tell here right now, but I'm still a good guy, so here's a free stuff that's gonna teach it to you. And it's beneficial for you to request this, because then not everyone's gonna discover the secret, and then it's still gonna have great returns. Amazing. So then we have a question. So how can you begin taking these simple steps right away? So we're transitioning the offer, and notice how we're on page 36 here. We're transitioning to the offer. But first, even before we present the offer itself, we have some proof elements. We have some mini case studies of people who took these steps, and how they started trusting the work of Porter Stansberry. They got rich, and one of them even bought a yacht. And this is the epitome of painting the dream while providing proof as well. So notice at this point, everything changes to more positive, like everything gets relaxed, like your life is going to be so good. Up until this point, we had fear-based copy. We had copy that scares people. But this part, it makes people relax. And they start associating themselves and the feeling of being relaxed and feeling like, yes, there is a solution to these problems at this point, which is important because this association will also get transmitted to the product itself. So they will start associating the same positive feelings to the product itself. So this increases sales by a lot. It's a more advanced psychological thing, but it increases sales by a lot, especially when you have pictures like this yacht. And then we have a little element that says, I'm personally words for you, dear reader. So that's why, I think you should definitely do something about it. And we have a crossroads clause, which says that, the choice is up to you. But just know that the government is not going to save you. So either you leave everything to chance and hope for the best, but like based on previous things, what happened, your chances aren't really that good. Or you can actually take the smart choice and just get the free stuff that I just mentioned here. So we have a little like recap of the offer. So you get 5 cool research reports, which are like special reports or bonuses when you take a trial subscription to my monthly newsletter called Stansberry's Investment Advisory. So investment advisory, it's like you get to have this guy as a personal guide for you. Like, how cool is that, right? And you get all these bonuses. And then we have a few other benefits and perks of what you get. So these are basically kind of like the features / benefits, only this long. Like, imagine most copywriters, their entire sales letters is like, oh, my product is so good, we do this, we do that, there's so many features, buy it now. Nobody cares about that. But like, after all this emotional story building and belief shifting and value build up, and at this point they also get even more perks for this, I mean, it makes sense. And there's even a price drop, because normally this costs $99 per year, but right now you can get it for half off the normal rate. You'll pay just $49.50. And very pro level copywriting tip, like Mike Palmer doesn't just give a 50% discount because, hey, here's a 50% discount, because people don't like it. It feels like it devalues the product itself. But like, he also reasons why he does this, okay? He provides a rational argument why this happens. So why so cheap? Well, to be honest, our business really only works if our subscribers stick with us for the long term. But we realize you've got to try our work first to see if it's right for you. So it has a rational argument for the soft offer, which is like, hey, we do everything for our customers, but like, in the beginning months, for those 4 months mentioned before, you can try it out for free, just so that you see that this is a lot of value, and then you can stay with us if you'd like. And this is really powerful. Even to this day, some of these are really powerful. We have some honesty as well. It's very friendly, very personal. You don't really realize that this sales letter goes out to tens of millions or like 100 million people. It really feels like he is speaking to you one-on-one, and that's one of the hallmarks of good copywriting. So he says, I hope you'll consider this offer seriously. I know it in my heart it will be one of the best financial moves you ever make. And then we have like the call to action, only like a simple one word. Notice there's not many links. We only have a single like subscribe now link. That's it. 39 page sales letter and just a single call to action. It's crazy. But that's why these things are called sales letters, is because they're just like a letter. You have like a sign off as well, everything. And then when it makes sense to include the call to action. Maybe nowadays you would need more call to actions, but I don't know. You got to test it. It definitely worked well. So the final paragraph just says, to get started, simply click on the link below. So this is the call to action, which will take you to a secure order form. Your order will be processed immediately, and you'll have access to all of my work in a matter of minutes. So here we have some ordering instructions. Very important to lower the anxiety level and the uncertainty of our target audience, and you'll get access to all my work in a matter of minutes. So this is instant gratification. Like, instant access is always better than waiting for something for such a long time. Okay. So yeah, this was the full breakdown of Mike Palmer's End of America, and it's as I look at the timer, it seems like this is like 1.5 hour masterclass in itself, and I could easily sell this and charge like, I don't know, $100-$200 for this easily, but you can watch it on YouTube for free, because my mission with this, because now that it's important to give people a reason why. So my mission with this is to build the biggest like proven sales letter breakdown library on YouTube, so that anyone who's interested in these types of things can actually get into copywriting, get a world-class copywriting education for free, and just see how good direct response marketing looks like. So if you enjoyed this video, then please consider liking it right now. Also subscribe to the channel if you're new here, hit the notification icon, and share this video with others, because I searched on YouTube and on Google and I couldn't find anything close to this. I couldn't even find a single sales letter breakdown of End of America. So if you enjoy this and you value these things, then definitely make sure to share with others as well, because it helps me grow the channel. It helps these sales letters reach more and more people, and then it helps the entire craft of copywriting get more praise, because it definitely deserves it. And also, if you're interested in checking out more of my stuff, there's a few links in the description section. You can check it out. You can check out my beginner copywriting course, my email template pack, other videos on the channel, other playlists, stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. You're amazing if you're still here watching this, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow in the next one. Cheers.